Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Coach Sherry, and today is day 53 of going live for 90 days. I am moving closer and closer to my Sweet 16, which is going to be the month of June. And I don't know how they're going to do it, but typically when your year comes up, and if you don't have your 4,000 watch hours by your year anniversary, YouTube takes you back down to zero, zero watch hours. And this year, I said, I'm gonna try and not get back down to zero. I've been so close so many times with my 4,000 watch hours. And so these past 90 days of going live every day, here I am, day 53. I'm hoping that this will make some type of impact. In real life, I really need to be uploading some pre records, some shorts every day as well, but I just don't have the capacity to do that. So we'll see what happens. And you know what? Listen, I've been on YouTube for a long time now, been a content creator for about 4 years. And if it hasn't happened now, I'm not worried because I'm still going to be here. I am tried and true and loyal to what I do. So this is what it is. But welcome to my channel. Again, I am Coach Sherry. This channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting recently, especially from the ones that have been with me since day one, and for the ones that had just recently found me. Thank you. And as you can see, the topic of this session is going to be about popular upskilling platforms and programs. And I'm referring to Thursdays as Thriving Thursday. However, I always refer to Thursdays as Friday Eve. So happy Friday Eve to you. I hope that you've had a successful week and that all of your goals, the small ones leading to the big ones, I hope that you met them and that you are satisfied with the results thus far. You know, it's always a new day when you wake up. You are blessed and fortunate to wake up, a new day to start again. So if some things did not pan out the way you had planned, don't worry about it. You still have a time or a chance to get it right. That's the thing, you can always rebrand yourself, your business. You can always start over, get a do over. But, definitely when you do things again, when you're getting that second or third chance, make sure that you're doing something different. Don't try to do the same thing expecting different results. We all know that is the formula for insanity. So you want to do something different, tweak what you have done so that it can be better, so that it can be successful. So, thinking about upskilling yourself, a lot of people are in situations, they have a business, they have a career, and they need to elevate within their position, within their occupation. And there's so many different ways that you can upskill. Of course, companies or businesses may have some industry specific training that you can go to, but with new technology and this, just the way things are being done differently, more efficiently, you have to continuously upskill. That's why we need to forever be learners. We always have to thrive and strive to learn new things and to have that mindset of wanting to get better is going to be important too. And so, again, we're going to be talking today about the popular upskilling platforms and programs. And maybe you have heard of some, and maybe you're using some. So, if you are using or have heard of any of the platforms that I'm going to share in this session, please be sure to leave me a comment and let me know. And also share what courses have you taken on that platform. I'm really happy to be here and share this information with you. There's a difference between upskilling and reskilling. Again, upskilling, that's when you are trying to upskill what you currently do to be relevant. Reskilling is when you're trying to pivot into a new career or a new business, a new industry, something that you haven't done before, but you have an interest in, and you just are trying to navigate how do you get into that field. And so you have to sometimes reskill. So let's Look and see. Also, this is a live, but I'm also putting this on my podcast tab, my Real Talk with Coach Sherry podcast. So if you're listening to this from that tab, welcome in, welcome in. All right. So, unlike reskilling, which involves learning an entirely new set of skills for a career change, upskilling focuses on enhancing and building upon your existing skill set within your current role or industry. And again, it's so important to upskill. A lot of people think that all they have to do is show up, be in the building, and all great things should come to them without getting better in what they do. And they use whatever is not giving given to them as an excuse. So many people think that their companies should tap them on the shoulder and say, "Come on, I want you to come into this training." And some organizations, they may do that. They may put that on your improvement plan, that you need to attend these courses. Some, if you have certifications, to keep them up to date, sometimes you have to take additional classes, professional development classes, to keep them up to date. But it's not always done like that. Sometimes you may not belong to an association or have a certification that requires additional credits per year. Or sometimes you may not have that employer that will say, "I need you to, take this class." You have to sometimes, and in most cases, take the initiative upon yourself, knowing where you want to go with your career and how you want to grow within it, to seek out different platforms to upskill yourself. So never use another person of what they will or will not let you do stunt your growth. So many people do. And when they do, I always say, you are letting them have a lot of power over your next move. And you do not want to give anyone that type of power over you. If they're saying, "Well, we won't pay for it," then save your money or see how you can get around to paying for it. And a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you today, that I'm going to share, are free. So there is really no excuse. All right. So upskilling, it really refers to the process of learning new skills or enhancing your existing skills to advance in your current career path. And it involves acquiring additional knowledge, competencies, and expertise relevant to your job or industry. And here are just some key points that I want to share with you about upskilling. And I hope you have your pen and paper ready. And this is not only for you, but those in your circle, especially, we are just upon, high school and college graduation. So we have some new young adults entering into the workforce, and some of them may not necessarily be workplace ready. If they are workplace ready, or even if they're not, they need to understand that just because they graduated from high school or college or whatever the case may be, that school doesn't stop right there, that they have to continuously learn to improve in their careers. And I see that Rudy is in the building. Thank you so much for this time check. You are saying it is 9:07, which means it's 10:07 my time, and I am on a little later than I had expected to be tonight. So this is not going to be a long live or a long podcast. So upskilling, it uh, it allows you to stay relevant and competitive in your job market as job requirements continuously evolve, and they are evolving even quicker now because of technology advancements. Industries are changing, and we are having new business needs, and it helps you progress towards your career goals, qualifies you for promotions, secure better job opportunities, earn higher salaries, and even grow your business. Common ways to upskill include taking online courses, earning certifications, attending training programs, job rotations where you may work in one career, but you're doing one type of work in that particular position, and then you can rotate to another area within that same position and learn a new skill within that. So rotation is good. I know if you live in a union state, that's a heavy union state, typically in the northern part of the country. And even on the West Coast, I know they have big unions there. That rotation could be challenging. I know we've had someone move here from Ohio, and he worked in a well, what is it called? Titanium steel plant, and he was saying how he always wanted to learn new things, but because it was union, he had to do just what he was hired to do. He couldn't touch anything else, no other tools that did not belong to the work that he did. He couldn't cross train, shadow, do any of those things. So when he came to North Carolina, and the occupation that he got into, they have a union, but it's optional, and it's not as strict as that. He was so happy that he would be able to pivot and have more internal mobility. And he has grown tremendously in his role. And his role has changed about two or three times in the past few years since, being here. So that's great. Also, job enlargement, enrichment, peer coaching, or mentorship programs can also help you with upskilling in your role. And companies, a lot of companies now are encouraging and supporting employees with upskilling to build an internal skilled workforce and reduce hiring costs, because employers are realizing retention is challenging. And if your employees are having growing pains, don't try to hold them. And, this is the thing, a lot of employers thinking, well, if I let them explore other things, they'll leave and I need them to do what they're doing. But they really will leave quicker if you don't let them explore. Because sometimes, even when they explore and they are exposed to so many new things that they can get into, sometimes they realize, you know what, I would love to try that, but the grass is not greener over there either, and I'm good where I'm at. They may be in a time in their life when they have so many transitions going on personally, until, sometimes when you have a lot going on personally, you just feel like, I just need a change, I need an overhaul, period. And you feel like you want to do a career move and all that. But once they see all that goes into starting a new career, learning a new position, occupation, and their personal life, at that point, sometimes they feel, you know what, let me just stay in this role until I get my personal life together. I'm glad to know that that's over there, that's available. I'm glad to know that I have options. Sometimes people just want to know they have options. I'm glad to know I have options, but I'm not going to go for it right now. So if you are an employer and you are stifling the growth of your employees, you really need to know that that stifling of growth is what's making them move out of your organization. That's what's making them leave and go elsewhere. But when you open things up and allow them to explore and let them know, it's one of those, like, listen, I know I'm the best thing out here. So you can go if you want to over there and look, but I know you're going to come right back here. So, you have to have that posture too. And if you don't think that you're the best, if you don't think that you have a better, it might be better benefits, it might be better employee relations, if you don't think that what you're doing, better salaries, if you don't think you're doing the best for your employees, then yeah, they are going to bounce. But if you are sure that you are doing everything you can, which you should be if you're an employer, then you shouldn't have that fear. You should not be afraid of them pivoting or leaving your organization just because they are exploring. And hopefully you have enough within your organization that they can just explore internally. And that's really the optimum, because that's bringing internal mobility. It's shifting things. It's bringing in new people. It helps with succession planning. If they can shadow someone or or have a mentor that can share with them the things that they're doing, because they may be going out in the next 2 to 3 years. You're capturing that knowledge, that institutional knowledge, and all of that is great. And that helps with the upskill. I see Jessica Hicks is in the building. How are you doing? It's been a long time, and I'm glad to see you. I hope things are going well. Things are going well over here. They are. And just doing this 90-day going live challenge. I am on day 53. So I'm glad that you're in here. And I know you are in HR. So you're going to know some of the things that I'm talking about in terms of upskilling. And we are at a pivotal time in our country, in our world, where people have to upskill. We're at a very um, a, a very exciting time, I want to say, because so much change is going to happen that's going to set us up for the next 30 to 50 years. But we all have to be prepared, and the time to prepare is not when we need it, but it's right now before we need it, so that we can be more attractive to those other opportunities, so that when new things are implemented, we will have familiarity with it already and can be, considered to maybe lead some of those efforts. A lot of people, they wait around, they think, oh, it's not going to happen, or they think they have so much time, and time waits for no one. Okay, here we are, Friday Eve, and on the weekend of Memorial Day. We just had Memorial Day. It's almost Christmas again. So time waits for no one. May has been trying to leave us for a while. May has been trying to get out of here. I don't know where May has to go, but May is trying to go somewhere fast. And I also see Slasher Chick in the building. And I hope, Jessica, you and Slasher Chick are able to connect. Y'all are both amazing content creators. And I know that y'all will enjoy each other's information that you both share. Yes. Um, I am making life great despite challenges. All right. So that means you're living with purpose and intention. And that's the best that we can do. That's what we can control. All right, is how we are looking and approaching things that come up. Challenges are opportunities for us to grow. Challenges are opportunities for us to clean house, to see who really has our back, who really should be in our circle, and or which circle in our life they need to be, closer or further away. So I hope that this is a time of growth for you with those challenges. Right. It is already Memorial Day weekend. And I keep thinking that Memorial Day is always, and I guess this is the last Monday in May, and I guess this will be, but it always seemed like it was around the 30th, not so close into the 20s. But May is telling everybody, I gotta go. I got things to do. So I'm just trying to follow May's suit and have things to do. Yes, all right. And Olivia Love is in the building. Thank you so much, Olivia Love. I was like, I think this still looks like me, and it's not that long ago. It's like 2 years ago. Just trying to change some pictures up. I don't know. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm glad that y'all connected. Thank you. And it's your birthday weekend. Well, happy birthday to you, Jessica Hicks. I hope you have a phenomenal birthday and are celebrating it the way that you want to celebrate it. You deserve the best. Hmm. You're also in HR, people. Okay. You both will really enjoy each other's content. I am telling you. And Olivia Love is our creative. Please check her out. She's a neophyte or a baby here on YouTube. In terms of growing her channel, she's been a viewer for a long time and trying to put her toes in the water. Some great people are in the building. Thank you. Thank you, Slasher Chick. I'm trying to figure it out. And Florida one, how you doing? Ace Fla one. I know I'm probably saying it wrong, but I have it up here so everyone can see. So thank you for being here. Yes, happy birthday to you, Jessica Hicks, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, just everyone check out Ace Fla One as well, and see what they are all about. As that would be great. Yeah, this is definitely a I'm not one to keep everything to myself. No one is under pressure to connect with each other. I just make the suggestions. And I know that typically people that come into this live in my podcast are great people. And I know Ace Float one, I've seen you multiple times too. So definitely. So today we are talking about popular upskilling platforms and programs. This is Thriving Thursdays. So, Thriving Thursdays, we're always going to try and provide tips and information that and strategies that are going to help you level up, upskill, and just some advice for that. And we can have conversations about it. If you have some things that maybe I didn't add to the list, you can say, you know what, Coach Sherry, also mention this because there's so many different platforms out there, and I'm just going to share a few with you today. All right. So again, we want to upskill. So continuously upskilling helps professionals in these domains stay ahead of industry trends and adopt new tools, techniques, and best practices. Now, I always say that everyone in some form or fashion does customer service, whether it's with external people that may utilize your services or items, or even internal, where you're doing things for your colleagues and peers, and the way that you communicate with them, and understanding that we have 5 different generations in the workforce right now, and each generation has a way that they like to be communicated to, and how they work best. And so understanding that and dealing with them in a way that's more productive, that's also customer service. So if you don't know those 5 generations, if you're not being intentional with how you are working with other people, and even with not just generational diversity, but cultural diversity, regional diversity. We are such a transient society where people are moving from all over the country to all over the country. And they are moving to places that maybe there aren't a lot of people like them. Maybe there are pockets of them, but in the workforce where they are, they may be the only one. I know here in Charlotte, it's hard to find a true Charlottean. Everyone has moved here. They're transplants from somewhere else: New York, New Jersey, Texas, Florida, Ohio, California, just everywhere. And it's amazing how, you may ask someone, where are you from? And they have, a lot of them have lived here for a long time. So they've adopted whatever the way is here in Charlotte, but they still have their way of being from where they're from. It could be even the food that they eat. And so respecting that and their traditions, so understanding those things too is a great way to upskill, especially if you are in management, if you're leading teams, if you're doing project management, and you're working with all different types of people, maybe within your organization or in the community where you're working with vendors and other, professionals. So definitely, that's a great upskill that you can start out with. Um, all right. So now, what are some of the popular courses and programs? Now, Google Analytics Academy is free, and it's online courses to learn web analytics and Google Analytics. And, understanding analytics is really good for, all different types of things that you may be doing. Who are these people that are coming? What are the trends? And even with our YouTube, we have the analytics in our back office. And I'm still, trying to navigate that. I love all the information. I just don't have a lot of time to dig deep. And I'm thinking that, maybe even Google Analytics Academy might be some place that can show me some shortcuts, teach me, how to ride the wave with those analytics. And that's not just for YouTube, but also in business and in my career. And then HubSpot Academy. And again, if you all have heard of any of these, have taken courses in any of these places, please let me know. I see Jessica is saying that yes, Google Analytics is a top skill. Yes, it is. It is. And being able to present analytics in a way that is easy to understand, and to also come up with solutions based based action steps based on the analytics. And you know what, Jessica, my youngest of 3 just graduated from college. She just graduated from Spelman College, and her major was economics, but her emphasis was in finance, and that's where she did 2 of her internships over the past 2 summers in New York. And she also belonged to a finance fellowship. She did a couple of them, but one was tremendous. And offline, I would definitely love to tell you or whoever else more about it. Maybe one day, if I get a membership on my on my channel, that's something I would definitely talk about, because that fellowship for finance was phenomenal. But at any rate, she has done a lot of even competitions where businesses are hiring students in her age range, diverse students that can help them market to Gen Xers, Gen Zers, just to market to a younger target. And she's done some pitches where she's done the analytics. She's seen where their gaps were and helped them come up with some strategies of ways to market their product or their offering. And I'm telling her, that is finance. That ultimately can be finance. You could do that for, a finance company or department or division, but that is a thing, data analytics, and not just reviewing it, but coming up with, okay, let's troubleshoot through this, and here are the results. These are the things that you should do to make it better. So definitely. And so Slasher Chick is saying, I am going to do the free Google digital marketing course to use the same skills for my channel. Yes, yes. Thank you. That is awesome. Yes. And I'm telling you, Jessica, Slasher Chick, the stuff that she does, especially with AI, and she demonstrates it on her lives, are phenomenal. And so I can only imagine what the Google digital marketing course will do for you too. All right, so then there's HubSpot Academy, and that's for inbound marketing course covering blogging, social media, SEO, which is what I talked about yesterday, and email marketing. And I know Olivia Love is in the building, and I know her, and again, I know her in real life too. I know she's writing these things down because that young lady, she will take a course, you hear me? And she will learn a new skill so that she can teach it probably to somebody else. And she implements it right away, which is a great thing. So these are some really good courses, Olivia, that I think you should consider as well. But HubSpot Academy, I'm going to look into that, especially with the SEO. And it's interesting that they talk about covering blogging. Blogging seems like such a long time ago, but I mean, we have the audio blogging now, which is basically what we're doing. I look at what this is as a blog. Back in the day, before I really got into YouTube, I did WordPress. Remember WordPress blogs? And then they also have, I think it was called Blogspot or something like that. But I remember WordPress, and I did a blog. It was called alscaregiver.wordpress.com. And that's the blog that I wrote all of the things, the experiences that I had when I was caring for my mother and beyond. And now, if YouTube was what it is today, and if recording was easier back then like it is today with our phones. I mean, I had a BlackBerry, yes, back then, but my pictures were so horrible that BlackBerry took. But if cameras and technology was much better back then, instead of doing a written blog, I definitely would have done a YouTube channel just like you see now. There's someone, her mother has Alzheimer's, and she's blogging the experience with that. And I'm sure people whose loved one has Alzheimer's, seeing how patient she is with her mother and just how she handles her, because her mother's a walker. Her mother walks all over the place, and it's just really hard to contain her. She's in an assisted living facility, but it's really, really challenging. But her patience really calms my nerves, and it just takes me back to when I cared for my mother. But I think that's so therapeutic if you are a caregiver to blog it. And again, for me, I had to do it in writing and post it on the website, on the World Wide Web, which people all over the world responded to. But we're so fortunate to have platforms like a YouTube, like a um, Instagram or TikTok. But I think for something, that personal, or that even at some points educational, I think YouTube is a great platform for that. So I'm wondering, what type of blogging they are referring to when they say blogging. Another is um, Code Academy, and that's interactive courses to learn coding languages like Python, Java, and JavaScript. And I know coding is huge too. And there's a lot of universities, maybe one in your area, that is offering different types of coding academies where you pay this price, but it also includes job placement or these different types of certifications that will make you highly attractive to other opportunities. I see East Dad just dropped in. I appreciate you for stopping by. I know where you're at, and I hope you're having a wonderful shift and day for sure. And Jessica is saying, I just realized I've never seen a BlackBerry phone in real life. You haven't? What? Well, listen, I still have my last BlackBerry. And I actually did a live a while ago out of my 52 or 53 lives. I did do a comparison about, well, not necessarily a comparison, but it was about a book, Think Again. And they used BlackBerry and Apple phones as a reference in terms of how BlackBerry didn't think again. They didn't think iPhones would do as well as it is doing. But I still have my BlackBerry because I have so many great information in it still, that I need to somehow download somewhere. I wanted to keep all the text messages that I had sent out, like on my mother's last days, back and forth to family and friends. And just again, even though the pictures are horrible, some of the pictures that I had taken. And then you said, okay, I need to say that I'm a caregiver. It's the most challenging. Oh yeah, it is. It is. And especially, they call it being in the sandwich generation. I don't know if you are familiar with Carter's Eats, but Carter's Eat, they are a three generation household. And, she has her parents there. Her husband's dad is not too far. Then they have two young children, and they call that being in the sandwich generation, where you find yourself taking care of your parents and your family, even if it's your partner, your spouse, or whatever, but it's a lot to juggle, a lot to consider. There's a lot of moving pieces, and you have, the person or persons that brought you into this world. You have their life in your hands, trying to keep up with their appointments, plus taking care of yourself. Making sure that your energy is straight and that you have an outlet is so important. Oh my goodness. But the thing is to be present. So only do what you can do. And while you're doing it, only focus on that. Don't think about what you just finished doing, what you have to do next. Focus in that moment. And when you focus in that moment, it will help keep you so grounded. It will help your health, because you won't stress out about what you have no control over, because you're just doing what you can control in this in that moment. But Jessica, just do your very best and know that you're not alone. I think after a certain point in life, we all get to that space if we're so fortunate to have, elderly loved ones still with us. Definitely bless you, Jessica. hmm I was just going to say, Coach Sherry, yep, I still have mine. I do. I do. And the one that's, and Jessica, if you look back on my lives, the picture, it's the thumbnail for that video. You can see my original, my latest BlackBerry for sure. All right. The next one is Coursera. And that's machine learning course teaching linear regression, neural networks, and building intelligent systems. Now, I've heard of Coursera, but I have never known that that's what the types of things that they teach. If any of you are familiar with Coursera, and if you know of other things that they teach besides machine learning course, teaching linear regression, neural networks, and building intelligent systems, let me know. But building intelligent systems sounds like AI for sure. So that's making me curious. So I'm definitely going to check that out. Let's see. The next is, of course, LinkedIn Learning, which is one of my favorite. And if your company is so fortunate to have a professional account where all employees can get free LinkedIn Learning, then you are a lucky one. And if they have that, take advantage. LinkedIn Learning has courses on everything from being an entrepreneur to marketing to gardening to playing a musical instrument to excel, anything that you can think of. And that's what I also tell people when I'm doing career coaching is especially if they're trying to pivot into a whole new career and they need to reskill, not upskill. And I always say, look and see what you're missing. Sometimes people always think in order to reskill themselves or even to upskill that they have to go back and get some type of degree. But you don't always have to get a degree. Sometimes it might be a certification. Sometimes it might be a course series, or it could be just a class just to get you that baseline knowledge. And so that's why it's important. Excuse me. I'm going to get a drink of water. Hold on. Let me see. And that's why it's important to know the ins and outs of that new career or that next career that you're trying to get into. And there's many platforms. One is called ONET. And ONET to me, I say it's one, but to me and for me, and for what I do, that's the only. And that's because that is a site that is developed by the Department of Labor's Administration and Training, and it's free. And it's not one of those free sites that has all these pop-ups and ads and all that. It has none of that. It has just information for all different types of occupations. So you can see what goes into it, what's a day to day look like? What type of tasks? What type of technology do you need to know? What type of associations are aligned with that? What's the work style like? And you can just get a really clean summary snapshot of that occupation. And as you go through it, anything that you feel like I have no clue what that is, then that's where you can go to like a LinkedIn Learning or any of these other platforms to see what courses you can take so that you can be familiar. And so Jessica is saying, yep, luckily I didn't have children and I'm unmarried, so it's just the caregiving. I think I've only had about 5 years of life that I haven't taken care of my mom in some way. I'm just tired. Whew, yeah. It's it's definitely it can be an exhausting you know system that you're working in. Is that assignment is God gives his toughest assignments to his strongest soldiers, is what I've always been told. And I've also been told, may the life you live speak for you. And that's commendable, Jessica. I mean, just about only 5 years that's that you haven't. um and even though you don't have children or a spouse, you still are in a sandwich generation because you are growing and developing. So you are taking care of yourself personally and professionally, plus your mother. So I can imagine the challenge and the balance act that you have to do. I'm just hopeful that you have either extended family or close friends that are supportive, and or that, people that surround you that really care for you, that will allow you to vent without judgment. Sometimes that's really necessary, because sometimes when people aren't in that situation of caregiving, and they don't understand how you can get frustrated sometimes, how you could just get so burnt out, and they look at it like, you're not grateful or whatever. But no, those are real emotions and they occur at times. So I hope that there are moments when you can step off and do some deep self-care. And even if it's just moments alone where you're at peace and quiet and can meditate or do yoga or just be at one with nature and God, for sure. Yes, Coursera is good. Okay. Hi, Black Guns and Gardens. How are you doing? Good to see you. How are things going with those what was it, cabbage that you were growing? How are things going with you? Black Guns and Gardens has a phenomenal channel too. He has a great garden collection, and also a huge artillery collection too, that he's very well trained in, and can speak highly about the different things that he uses with sustainability, and just a good dude, a good channel for sure. Yes, definitely stay strong, Jessica. Mhm. Yeah. I'm just, remembering I didn't know where my strength was going to come sometimes. And you can't drop the ball, because they count on you. They're counting on you. And my mother was on a ventilator, and that's a big responsibility, and there were no nurses in the area that would even come to the house because of it. And I told them, listen, we will sign anything to so that you can come. We'll pay you $100 an hour so you can come. And they would not come to help out. So I had to learn how to be a respiratory therapist. And luckily, the hospital that she would go to, they had a great guy that, taught me everything I know about respiratory therapy. But it's amazing, people, when I was caring for my mother, would say, "Oh, Sherry, you should be a nurse." And I was like, "No, if anything, I would be a doctor." I'm not saying anything bad about nurses, but nursing takes a lot of care. And the type of care I gave to my mother, I couldn't give to anyone but her. So, that would be, that would not be something I could do for the masses of people. And God bless nurses for sure. That is definitely a labor of love, because you have to love what you do to do that. And to see all the different types of people come and go in many ways, go, and literally and figuratively. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Oof, it's a lot. The next is EdX, and that's the introduction to computer science, and it covers programming fundamentals and algorithms. That might be an interesting one too, because algorithms are huge, where um, you know people are trying to figure out, like, how do you attract the algorithms, how do you get past the algorithms. And so that might be an interesting course too. And Slasher Chick is talking about Coursera has everything. You can now get full degree. What? Really? Huh. That's interesting. Okay. That's interesting. All right. The next is Udemy. And Udemy is digital marketing masterclass on social media, SEO, email marketing, and more. Now, I've heard of Udemy before, but I've never taken any classes on there. And I hear that they are pretty good. And again, here's SEO, and that's what I talked about yesterday. So that, this is kind of coming around full circle, telling me something, at least. I don't know if it's telling y'all something. And Black Guns is saying, all is well, the cabbage has been harvested, however there is still plenty of fruits veggies growing in the garden. All right, that's cool. That's cool. I listen, I keep saying it, and I will. I mean, growing up, we used to have a garden. We had one in the backyard, and then my parents had a plot in this other kind of, not, it wasn't so much of a, I guess it was a rural area, but it was where we used to go to the beach every week in the summer. And as kids they fall for the okey doke, I promise you. So we would go to the beach, we would be there all day. Family from New York would come, we would go every Sunday. And well, not every Sunday, but quite often. And then we would eat breakfast. They would bring the propane tank, or stove, propane stove. We had the gas. I mean, yeah, the propane is the gas one, but then we would have the charcoal grill. We would always get there early to secure all these picnic tables in this one area that we always loved to get. And they had basketball, volleyball, they had the grassy area, they had the sand. It was a man-made lake. It was really a nice clean lake. Swings, and all kind of playground stuff on the sand that you could, so as kids, and it was very contained. As kids, we could walk around, our parents could really see us no matter how far we were. And we would be there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when I talk about breakfast, we outside now. We outside, and we would have scrambled eggs and cheese, grits, rolls, bacon, sausage, ham, um, potatoes, My mother would have the cast iron skillet out there. Like we would have real food for breakfast. And for lunch, we would have like hot dogs, hamburgers, stuff like that, and salads. But for dinner, they would have ribs, fried chicken, barbecue chicken. I don't know how they kept the potato salad cold, but they did. They would, I mean, greens, green beans. It would be watermelon, cantaloupe, all kind of fruit, cakes, pies, like that. We would have all that. And so we would be so happy, and we with our cousins, and if you had a best friend you wanted to bring, whatever, my family was down for it. Come on. So we all go, but then we would drive home and they would always veer off to the farm, and we would have to go in the farm and harvest what had grown since the last time we were there, and either pull weeds, plant something, pick something. And my parents and the grown-ups would kind of be sitting to the side. The kids and the young adults would have to be out there. It was a lot. It was fun, but the fun was at the beach. This part, it was just fun because we were together, but it wasn't preferred. Let's say that. I know. I'm telling you, it was so good. And the cars going there would be so packed with all kinds of chairs, beach and lawn chairs, towels, and all the food and everything. I don't even know. I never even see my parents prepare the day before, or whatever, for it. I just wake up on the morning we would go and everything would be ready. My brothers, I guess, would pack the car and the trucks and stuff up. I guess as the youngest of three, and I was the daughter, and I was 8, 9 years younger than my brothers. All that heavy lifting I never had to be involved with, but it was a good time. It really was. Thinking back on it, I wonder how that beach is doing now, because we haven't been there in true at this point decades. It feels like. It really was for sure. And then every year, going to Virginia to visit family, you keep all you pick. So pole beans, string beans, collards. I remember we had a muscadine, is that what it's called, like a grapevine thing. My mother would go into the woods and get blackberries. There was this Granny Smith apple tree in the middle of a tobacco field, but my mother and one of my great aunts used to go down in there. I never went with them back in there, but my family was trying to save me for something, because a lot of times they would just be like, Sherry, you stay here. But they would go down to that tree. My mother would have to wear high rubber boots and take a huge stick, and that was for the snakes. And they would come back with ba- a huge bucket full of Granny Applesmith apples that were just so delicious. And that great aunt, she would make all these amazing pound cakes, and she had this, it was like an outhouse kind of thing. It was they called it a little house. From her house, it wasn't a garage. It was this small, like, it was like a row house almost, but it was one room. It was three one-room things that were together. And she had a freezer room. One of them was a freezer room. One was like a flower room. So it looked kind of like it wasn't like a greenhouse per se, because it was a room, but it had good lighting, I suppose. And I don't know what she did with the third room, but it had a freezer room where she had deep freezers in there. And so she would make these amazing pound cakes, and she would freeze them. And when she knew we were coming, she would take one out and to throw out, and that thing tastes like she just made it. I don't know how, but it was always so good. And they had a well, so it was all well water anyway. She had one of those big silver well tanks that brought water to the house. And this was my father's father's sister. And so they also had one of those wells that you take the bucket and you put it down into the well, right? But when my dad was a little boy, maybe even before, I have to ask him, was it when he was a little boy or before he was before he was born? But at some point, somebody had poured milk in the in that well, and it ruined it forever. Like, who knew that, pouring milk down a well like that would ruin that water forever? And I remember my great aunt would say how when she was a little girl, that well had the best water, and just amazing. So, okay, I digress. Was that sidebar? All right. So the next one is Skillshare, and that's for graphic design basics, teaching color theory, typography, and Adobe tools. So Skillshare, that's another one. Massive open online courses, and that's MOOCs, like Coursera, Udemy, and LinkedIn Learning offer thousands of courses across various domains. So it sounds like this one is one that has like access to all of the domains, and you could just sometimes it's like good to have that one-stop shop, almost like a dashboard, so you can see what they all have. And that's again, it's called Massive Open Online Courses. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with that one, but that one sounds like it might be pretty good. Yeah, that was good living. Good clean. You know what, Olivia loved? That was good clean fun back then. Good clean fun. We everybody's minding their business. Nobody was hating on each other. There was no fussing, fighting, arguing, cussing out, beat downs, scared of, jealousy. It was none of that. It was just good clean fun. You here to have a good time, so am I. Let's do it together. Yes, those are good memories. So, Jessica, are you familiar with Massive Open Online Courses? Massive Open Online Courses. I'm gonna look that one up. Again, the acronym is just maybe it's called MOOCs, but it's MOOCs. And then we have formal education programs, of course, like degrees, certifications, and university partnerships for comprehensive upskilling. Now, I'm trying to tell you, if you're not utilizing your community college, I don't care if you have a PhD, a JD, a MED, a BA, BS, I don't care. Check out your community college because they have so many courses, especially in their continuing education section. So, for instance, my daughter, who is a realtor, they have to take continuing education every year, and a lot of those courses can be like $300 to $500. Whereas at the community college, those same types of classes that would qualify for her continuing education are like $55 to $75. Like, what? So, definitely check out your community college, check out their continuing education section. They also have like customized curriculum where they may offer, some off classes that you will be like, huh. And I had also talked about that, I believe, either yesterday or day before, or something like that. If you have a specialty that you may want to teach, check out maybe teaching it at the community college. And sometimes I know back in the day it was real easy. I mean, I'm an adjunct at Gaston College now, but sometimes they will allow you to do that, but just check with them. You never know. All right. The next is custom corporate training programs that are tailored to specific industry needs, and they are delivered via LMS platforms, so learning management systems. And there's a lot of corporate training. You could even look them up. It could be through your association, because even, yeah, your associations that are aligned with your occupation or with your industry. And a lot of times they may have additional training that would be good for upskilling you as well. It helps keep you relevant. And this is stuff that you need to implement, though. So don't just, anything you learn, don't just learn it to keep it to yourself. Learn it to implement it right away. And then internal mentorship programs where experienced employees train and upskill their colleagues. And, I like to call them, they could be job shadows, but I really prefer explorations, where you can sit down with that person and ask them a series of questions, and they can give you advice. You show them your resume, you let them know what you're thinking, and they can give you their professional subject matter expert advice on, what, you might want to look into this. And if that's what you want, you need to take this class. So, that's another route. But any of these, the courses, they cover in demand skills like, again, data analytics, digital marketing, coding, machine learning, leadership, and more. And they just really are helping professionals, and we all are professionals, stay relevant and advance your career. And so that's what it's all about, advancing, staying relevant. If you don't stay relevant, they're going to pivot you out. You're going to try to pivot one way, and they're going to be pivoting you out the other way because you can no longer, you no longer are having a positive impact on the organization. You become dead weight, and you don't want to be dead weight for sure. But I hope that you all got some great nuggets from this session. I really enjoyed sharing this information with you. As I share information, sometimes, most times, I'm also talking to myself, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try that too. So don't think that this is just all me giving it to you. This is for us. It's not about me, it's about you, it's about we, it's about all of us. So thank you. And remember, practice every single day so that when you get into play, you will always play to win. When you practice, that means you're trusting the process. The process doesn't always go fast and furious like you would like. Sometimes it's just slow and steady, and that's what really wins the race. All right, everyone, it's been my pleasure sharing this information again. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Today is Friday Eve, but I'll be back tomorrow with a live. Not sure what time, but my topic or my theme for Friday is going to be Friday Fireside. So stay tuned to what we're going to dig deep into on tomorrow. All right, have a great evening, and you all take care and stay safe. I am Coach Sherry.